Hello, friend. Today I want to just chat with you a little bit about 12-week planning. And this is going to be based off of the 12-week year. Now, when I'm recording this, we are in October 2023. And while I am already on week 2, there is still technically, counting this week, there are still technically 12 weeks left in the year. So if you have not set a plan for the rest of the year and you are just maybe floundering or you're not sure what you want to do, I am going to encourage you to go ahead and set a 12-week plan. And what I like about this, I'm only a week and a half in. This is honestly, it's the first time that I personally am doing it to this level. I am seeing a ton of benefits, including I feel like I'm better with my time management. I have very clear goals for what I want to accomplish week to week. So I can quickly see if I am meeting my goals, if I'm falling behind, if I'm ahead of my goals. I can quickly see that and I can adjust. And so I really like the idea of a 12-week plan versus a full calendar year because, hello, in 12 months from now, I have no idea what I want, but I can absolutely make goals that are tangible for the next 12 weeks. So even if you have not set your 12-week plan and you're ready to do it for Q4 in 2023, I'm going to encourage you to pretend that today is week 1 and maybe like middle of the week, okay? But you have enough time to still get through the end of the year. And even if you're watching this later and maybe there's only 8 weeks left, or maybe you're in a new quarter, you can do the same process no matter where you are. You may want to adjust, like with Tula 12, we have some metrics that are based on a specific quarter. So for me, I wanted to align with that. So I am definitely October to December and then January, February, March. So I wanted those to be my 12 weeks just to align with some other things. But if you are with a different company that maybe doesn't have metrics like that, it might not matter whether you start in a specific month, but you can always adjust and do, like a 4-week plan and then kick off a 12-week plan later. So just because you might not have 12 weeks left in the year or 12 weeks left in whichever quarter doesn't mean you can't still do the same concept for a shorter period and then restart. Okay. So this is the book, 12-week year. I will say that what I'm doing is loosely based on this, okay? But the concept is basically that we're going to create our goals and things like that for a 12-week time period. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can do this with some Tula 12 products. You can also, if you have a journal or notebook, you can absolutely do this with those as well. I, of course, love my Tula 12, and some of them are easier for that. I am actually just using a dot grid, but I'm going to show you a couple other things that you could do as well. So give me 1 second to get my other camera up. Alrighty, so we are going to do this. Alrighty, so here we are. Let me grab some light so maybe we're not getting all these horrible shadows. All right, friend. Okay, so this is our goal insert. All right, and I have a cover on it, but it is Reach Your Goals. I believe on the website, it's just listed as goals. And I will tell you that if I was redoing this, I would do like a 4-week period on a single page instead of trying to do all 12 on one. I just ran out of space when I got over here. So my recommendation is going to be create your 12-week goals, but do it over the course of 3 pages and separate it into 4 weeks, which actually works really well because every 4 weeks or so, you're going to really want to do like a detailed reflection and assessment to see how things are going so that you can make adjustments. Okay. So the first thing, of course, I want you to keep in mind as you're setting your goals, listen, again, if you are, maybe you feel like you're behind, you're not, you can start wherever you are. But you're going to want to make sure that you have SMART goals. Now I created this as a tip-in, which is just held in here with some washi tape. So it's just a piece of cardstock. I wrote the reminder for myself of what a SMART goal is, and now it is visible wherever I need it to be. So remember, you want your goals to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And I'm really sorry, my daughter is vacuuming right now, of course. You don't need to worry about this in detail, but basically you have a place at the top of this insert for you to write like your big overarching goal. You're going to have your time frame. And then you're going to have some smaller goals that you need to achieve to be able to reach that one. And then this is really where you're going to work out the details. These are all the steps that I have to take to reach these to help me get there. Okay. And I'm going to show you how I did that in my dot grid journal. And then the other thing that is important is putting your why. Why is this important to you? So for me, I really want my team to grow, and that means that growth starts with me as a leader. And also, I want to keep my 4-year plan in mind, which my 4-year plan is to be debt-free in 4 years. So that means that I'm going to have to sacrifice some things now in order to get there. Okay, so this is the goals insert. We also have a direct sales goals and finances. I believe it's now just direct sales goals. But you can kind of do like a summary for each month with your top goals, your title for what it is, some of the metrics that you might want to measure. Whenever you sit down to actually make like your monthly sales goals, you can do a little bit of math over here. And then you can put some ideas of things that you want to do to help you reach those numbers, which are going to help you reach your goals. You can also track your party sales, reminders on who your future party hosts are, and then track some of your expenses. Now, listen, I have way more than 4 expenses, so I recommend maybe categorizing them and putting your big buckets of expenses here just so you can kind of see, and then you're going to be able to give yourself a total of your sales, total of your expenses, and then do some commission math and figure out what your profit was, right? We don't want losses. We only want profits. Okay, so those are a couple of our goals inserts that you might find to be helpful. Now, what I did is actually I used our dot grid journal. This is extra large. You'll see that, listen, friends, I love some stickers. I love washi tape or wasabi tape, you know, depending on what you might want to call it. But I sat down to those same goals that I wrote out before in the previous one. I did a little bit more in depth here. You can see why I feel like you might want to separate things. And if you're using the other insert, separating it into 3 months. But basically I set goals for my personal business. I set some goals for my team growth. So like for here, I wanted to work on increasing my customer base, which meant that I need to increase the number of people in my Facebook group, my email list, my tech subscribers. And then I brainstormed some ideas of, well, how can I do that? I can host workshops. I can participate in vendor events. I can do in-person vendor events. I can ask for referrals. I can do lots of different things. So those were just some of my brainstorming. And then I did start putting numbers, like I want to see a 10% increase in my VIP community, which is 27 members by the end of the quarter, right? So in those 12 weeks, I want to see 27. So that's a little more than 2 a week, okay? And then over on the team growth side, I put things like I want to work on an onboarding process, because as we grow, it's not going to be something that I'm going to be able to manage with just individual messages to people, right? So I want a real process for that. And I want it to be consistent, and I want it to be something that I can offer to my team so that they're not stressed about it either. So that's what I did here was I put my team goals. And then I broke the numbers down, because I'm very much a numbers person. I am an engineer by day. I love some Excel spreadsheets. Now, listen, I love paper, but when you start making me do formulas, Excel is my friend. So what I did here was I documented what days each of the 12 weeks were, just so that for my own sanity, made it better for me. And I used stencils to draw all the boxes and everything. So don't think that I'm like this great artist. I'm not. I use stencils for those, for the calendars as well. Those are all stencils. So I put in what my because I had number goals, right? I put in where I needed to be at the end of the week. So everything that was numbers based, I gave myself, here are the numbers at the end of the week, and it's easy for me to measure that. And when things crossed over months, you can see that this week covers October and November. I have numbers on the 31st, so end of October, and then at the end of that week on the 4th of November. So for me, it made sense to separate it, just because I'm going to see a number on the 31st, and then I'll see a number on the 4th. I won't see like a number that has these two added together, and I didn't want to have to do that manually. So it's easier for me to calculate where I needed to be on each of those days. So that's what I did here with the 12-week. And then I created a very high level to-do list. So, it's participate in monthly vendor events, participate in monthly group takeovers. If you haven't done those, I love them. It definitely means that whoever has invited you to participate in their group, they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And so I always am greatly encouraged if somebody has asked me to be part of their group, because that means that they are trusting me to do all the right things with their customer base. So it just means a lot to me. So that's something that I want to do every month. So those are the types of things that I wrote over here in the to-do list. You can see that I did add like a little box so that I can track it for each month. But then I took those and I really wanted to brainstorm some more, and I detailed that out. So what is involved in booking vendor events? What's involved in doing a group takeover? You don't want to do them in things that maybe don't fit your ideal client, right? Maybe that's not even people that are going to be interested in your product. So just because somebody asks you to do something doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do, right? So I basically put in, here are the things that I need to think about whenever I'm doing these things. So that's what these next few pages are. And again, I did not actually use stencils for these pages. I just used a straight line. And I left some room in case I needed some more space. And then I created some fun trackers. Again, I'm very much a numbers person. So every time somebody comes into my VIP group, I'm tracking them here. They get a color. Whenever I make sales, it gets colored in here. When somebody decides that they love planning too and they join our team, they get a color in the honeycomb. And then we are coloring in on this page. It will be every month for the next 12 weeks. And it's basically for this brand director title. So that is what we're chasing these 12 weeks. So it was just some fun trackers for me to, like I said, have fun with. And I do actually update these every day. But then what you're going to do is whenever you start getting into your week, right, every week you're going to make a plan. And that's what this page is. So week 1, this was my to-do list. I created some boxes just for the numbers, just to remind me of what those were. So I put here was the goal. This was my actual in the green. So you can see that in some places I exceeded my goals and in other places I did not meet my goal. But it's a very quick visual so that I can see where we are. And then my to-do list actually ended up going into the bottom as well. And then at the end of the week, I did a reflection. So I was able to calculate an execution score. And I'll show you, there's one of these up here that says complete daily, weekly items for my goals and habits tracker. I'm going to show you that tracker in a minute. But in the end, I had 90 items on my to-do list for those 7 days. I completed 51 of them. And so that's how I got the 56.67%. So that might not seem very good, but what I did was I reflected, and I was on vacation for half of the week. I gave myself too much stuff, friend, gave myself too much. So, those are things that whenever you're setting your plan, you really have to think about, what can I realistically achieve in this week and what is important? Because some of these things I didn't need to do until this week on week 2. Right. So I didn't even need to do them, but they're reflected in here because I had them on my plan. So you can calculate an execution score. You're going to reflect on what went well, what did not go well. You're going to set your focus for the next week based off of how things went this week. So if I was like really behind on my group volume, then I would do something that was really focused on growing that particular aspect. In this case, I was behind on my team volume a little bit and on growing my team. So were some of the things that I wanted to be more intentional on this week, is doing a little more one-on-one with my personally sponsored teammates, just so that I can touch base with them and understand what their challenges are and see how I can help them. The other thing that is great, so we do a weekly accountability meeting. If you have an accountability partner, I highly encourage you guys, even if you're not with the same company, to sit down and do your 12-week plans. You can do them together, but if you can get your accountability partner on the same kind of process, you can do an accountability meeting with them where you're going to go over this, right? So you're going to go over, how did I do last week? What is my plan for this week, and where do I need help? So this is what the feedback section is for. So this week I was looking, and we were chatting about a referral system. So we kind of talked about how we could maybe implement that. So that's really what these notes are kind of for. So it was great to just add that in. Okay. And again, it was a tip in. I just taped it in there with some washi tape. All right. Now this is just a team challenge that I added in here. And you can see I'm now on week 2, and I have created my plan. You can see that I'm coloring in items as I get them completed, and I have a whole page. I haven't done my reflection setup. Like I said, I was on vacation last week, so I did what I could. You can see that I didn't have stencils with me, and my handwriting on that compared to this where I had a stencil is totally different. So I don't like my handwriting, and so I will be going back to using my stencils. But I didn't have them with me because I didn't think about taking it. So anyway, so that is basically the premise. Oh, so I told you I use the goals and habit tracker for tracking daily tasks. Okay, so I calculated, so this was week 1, right? So I had to add up, well, how many of these should I have populated? So the ones that are gray, I didn't count because I didn't plan to do anything for those days. Whereas, because like these, I was on vacation, there I didn't need to because the workshop hadn't started. So I added up all of the either blank or green boxes, and that became a number. I added up all of my weekly tasks that I was supposed to have accomplished. And that in conjunction with the ones that were on the list is how I got to the 90. So you can see here we are on week 2. Some things were a little better, some things not so much. But we are still working on it. So this, I like to track things that are daily, especially. So this is like my social media. This is personal follow-up messages and things like that. And then these are more social media groups. So I'm tracking all of those things. Now for the workshops, you can see that I had one workshop here. I have another one. No, this is all the same workshop. This is a group takeover. And this is another workshop, and then this is another workshop. So I've kind of written in the margins here what it is, just for my own sanity. So it was a good way for me to kind of map out and keep that and like fresh in my mind as to what all that is. Okay, so that's the daily and weekly habits. And that's how I calculated. So I do just want to encourage you, if you haven't set your 12-week plan and you like what I just showed you, you can feel free to message me. I'm happy to help you. You can go to theblendedmama.com/shop, and that will take you to my Tula XII website. That will help you. If you are interested in any of the products, you can grab them there. But you can also go to theblendedmama.com. I have some resources there available for things like building habits, time management tips. If you kind of do some searches in the articles, you might be able to find some of that. Hopefully, if I've done my job right, which doesn't mean I did. SEO is not necessarily my strong suit. But I do have things there, and you can always message me or email me. I'm happy to point you in the right direction. But I really feel like having that 12-week plan is a great way, and it's more manageable for you to actually achieve those goals. And by having it as a 12-week, it's not so far away that you just kind of brush it off, right? Like if you're looking at your numbers every week and you have broken things down over that 12-week, you can quickly adjust to get yourself back on the right track, so that you still end up meeting those goals, as opposed to being 6 months down the road and you're so far away and there's not really a way for you to recover. So that is one of the biggest things that I like about this. I do encourage you to grab an accountability buddy that you can do this with. in our chaos coordinator community with my customers, I do weekly plan with me sessions. This is absolutely something that you could do there if you are in my customer group. If you are on my team, you can do these we have weekly accountability meetings. We also do plan with me sessions there too. So there's lots of opportunities for my teammates. But this is it's something that I have found to be helpful. It's easier for my brain to kind of wrap around it than setting like big annual goals. I don't know. I never did them, or I didn't do them well. And I certainly didn't track them for very long, whereas I feel like this is manageable. It's not so scary, right? I know goals can be scary. Maybe you want to think of them as outcomes instead of goals. But I really encourage you to sit down and really think about, where do you want to be in 12 weeks? What do you want to accomplish? And you can do this for things besides business as well. You can absolutely do this for financial goals that you have at home with your personal budget. You can do it for time goals you have with your family, things like that. You can absolutely apply this outside of business goals. You can make it work for other things as well. So if you have questions, shoot me a message. You can email me, Teresa@theblendedmama.com, or you can find me on Facebook. So hopefully this was helpful, and I would love for you to share with me what your goals were, and maybe just take a snapshot of whatever you created. Again, it can be on a piece of paper. I love our dot grid journals, especially the extra large, which is what I have because I write really big. And I will say I do have a lined one as well. This is a previous one. And so one of my goals was, or one of my to-do items was to create my team vision, mission, and core values. And so I did that yesterday, and I put that into a lined journal, but I liked it because I had plenty of space to do brainstorming over here. And then I put my finished product on the next page. Okay. And it's going to be easy for me to go back and reference. I will actually add a tab to it, so it's easy for me to find. If you are doing journaling, you can add an index to the front. I do encourage that. And then you're just going to number the pages. So it will make it easier for you to go back and find like key pages that might be really important. Okay, friends. If you have questions, shoot me a message. I'm here for you. Good luck setting your goals, and I can't wait to see you crush them. Okay? Have a great day.